because you want every vegetable to be nice and even, so when you bite into it, you know, they're all done at the same time, you know, because this whole pepper is going to cook a lot differently than this little asparagus. And so by cutting them down to the same size, they're going to cook in the same amount of time, which is really important. That is a big, big key thing in cooking, is cooking times and making sure that all your things are done at the right time. So by making sure that all of our vegetables are in a pretty similar shape and size, they're all going to be done at around the same time. So that's really a nice little smart trick. Now I'm going to throw in a couple green beans. With green beans, these are super easy. Just take the knife, cut off the end, cut off the other end, boom, done, throw it in. You can also do the fancy sideways cuts on these, but it isn't really necessary. I mean, it's just a green bean. But we're going to take boom, boom, boom. See, fancy sideways cuts. We're going to throw those in too. So we're going to throw in another one here. Boom, boom. And then sideways cut. Nice and easy. Nice and easy. Boom. And there we go. So now that we have our vegetables here, we have them cooking up nice and easy. Now we're going to move on to our next step. Once we have enough vegetables to, give it a nice little medley, nice little color, and then we're going to prep out our little cherry tomatoes in a little bit, but we don't need to prep those out yet. Next, we're going to move on to the cheese. Now, with the cheese, I have this big old block of this kind of Swiss cheese. And I'm using a Swiss cheese because I want the flavor. The flavor of this nice Swiss Gruyere mix that I have here is going to be really, really good. The flavor of a sharper cheese is going to have a much better flavor and texture on this puff pastry than just a regular cheese. So I have some already prepped, but I'm going to show you how to grate some cheese. So first you want to make sure that your grater is on top of that, and then you want to take it and make sure that you just go for it, boom, and then just grate the cheese nice and easy. Boom. Boom. There we go. So now that we've grated our cheese, boom. Now we're going to take our cheese here and we're going to sprinkle it right on top of our puff pastry. So now, here's our puff pastry. Now we're just covering it nice and lightly with some cheese. Now it's super easy and it's going to be super delicious. Now we're doing this because we want the cheese to create a barrier between the puff pastry and the vegetables. The vegetables are going to be wet, the puff pastry wants to be dry, and the cheese is going to keep them from touching. So, that is a big tip. Because if you don't do this, if you don't put on the cheese, then guess what? Your puff pastry isn't going to puff. It's going to be soggy, it's going to be wet, it's going to be terrible. So, by putting on the cheese, I mean, everybody loves cheese too. I mean, that helps. Cheese is delicious. I love cheese. By doing that, it'll come out really good. So we're going to get a nice layer of cheese on here. Boom, boom. This is super easy, super simple. And then, there we go. I'm going to use a little bit more cheese. Just going to try to make sure that it's nice and cheesy. There we go. Now your puff pastry should look like this. You can see I've got a nice layer of cheese on top of my puff pastry. Delicious. Now, it's time to check our vegetables here. So, our vegetables are looking done. I can tell because they've softened up. You can see the colors kind of changed on them. They look nice and soft, which means that it's time to put them into the ice bath. So here is the remains of my ice bath. And we're just going to take our vegetables and we're going to put them in here. So now, I'm doing this extra step because I want the vegetables to stop cooking and I want them to remain a little crisp. So I want them to be soft, yet crisp. I know, not too long, but that's just kind of how it is. So, just going to get our vegetables here. Boom, boom. Also, our vegetables are going to be hot when they're in here. And since we can't handle hot vegetables, because I mean they're going to burn our fingers, we need to put them into an ice bath to cool them off, so that we can lay them out on the puff pastry. So, there we go. a couple more vegetables. And we're good. So, now that we have our vegetables, now we can get in there with our fingers. You see we've got them, they're nice and cool, they're cool to touch, they're easy to handle. The ice bath is super important. So now, we're just going to take our vegetables, and we're going to lay them out on top of our tarp. So we're going to move our vegetables over here. Now this is when you can be an artist. This is when you can be Picasso. You can be an artist. So, before we put our vegetables on, there's another secret step. We're going to want to dry them off. So here, no. Here I have paper towel. Now with the paper towel or kitchen towel, we're going to want to dry our vegetables. Now we're doing this once again because we don't want our vegetables to be too wet when we put them on. So I'm just going to take a couple of them, put them in here. Boom, we're going to dry them off nice and easy. We're going to try to get that water off of them. Now this is a nice important step. So then we're going to want to take this, boom. Then we're going to want to lay them out. So we're going to want to lay out our vegetables and make them look pretty. So this is where you can start to do little designs. You can put a face. You can have fun. You can have fun right now. This is probably the kind of the most artistic moment when you can decide if you want to make a face, if you want to make shapes, if you want to put them in a square, in a line. What do you want to do with these vegetables now that we're putting them on our tarp? And we're almost done. So here we go. Just going to take a couple more. We've got little bits of asparagus, more pepper. Now you can see it's starting to look really pretty, right? It's starting to look really good. But we're not quite done yet because we still have more vegetables. So we're going to take some more of our vegetables. We're going to want to dry them off here. So boom, give our vegetables a nice little dry off. This is very important. Don't skip this step. This step might seem like it's not doing a whole lot, but it's really, really important. So next, we're going to lay down our green bean, lay down some green. This is when you kind of want to think about, your colors and how it's going to look when it's done. And this is when you can really, really start to impress people with, how skilled you are. Plus, we're only moments away from putting it in the oven. So, here we go. Almost there. Add a couple more pieces. So now I'm just going to give it a little look. Oh, I'm missing a little bit of green. So we're going to take some more green, and then looks like you could use a little bit more carrot too. So I'm going to grab a couple pieces of carrot here. It looks like we're pretty good on the oranges and yellows, but this piece here, this piece there. Now if you're at home, hopefully you're at this step. I hope you are. If you're not cooking with me, I hope that you're enjoying it. Oh, there we go. That looks good. Now, your tart should look something like that. See, looks beautiful. Now, we're going to put this in the oven. This is going to go in the oven for 15 minutes. So I'm going to hand it off to my off-screen sous chef here. Please put that in the oven at 425 degrees for 15 minutes, and we're going to bake it. Now, hopefully, if you're cooking along with me, you have it in the oven right now. You're getting it ready. You've had your oven preheated, and we're ready to get to grab my tomatoes. But that's it. Once again, with this dish, you can add whatever you want. So you can skip the tomatoes. You can add the tomatoes. You can add whatever you want. If you want to add onions, you want to add vegetables, doesn't matter. You can add whatever you want. So now you might be looking, you might think, Logan, you got a messy kitchen. And you're right. I do have a messy kitchen. So, we're going to take a moment. We're going to clean our mise en place. So, this is a very important step. So, we're going to clean up our mise en place. So, we're just going to take a moment to clear off all of our extra ingredients that we didn't quite use. That could be a little much. So, boom. And then we're just going to give our kitchen a little clean down here. Now, this is very important, and I want you to be here for this. Even though you might think, Logan, why do I want to be here for you cleaning? This is very important, because if you don't keep a clean workplace, if you don't keep a clean mise en place, if you're clean, you're not going to be able to make good food. You're not going to be able to make anything good. So being cleanly and clean and making sure that your workstation is clean each time you start can carry over into anything. If you're painting and you have a messy canvas, then guess what? It's not going to come out into beautiful art. So this is really a lesson that isn't just for cooking, it's for anything. So next we're just going to grab the rest of our ingredients here. We'll take our knife, we get our last little bit here, boom, we're almost all clean. Let's see, just getting it, boom, boom, nice and clean. Just about ready to start our next dish. So there we go. Now that we have a clean mise en place, you see everything looks beautiful. Looks nice and clean. Can you get Little Puff? What? Can you go check Little Puff? Oh yeah, thank you. So, it's time to move on to our next dish. And that is our chickpea summer sliders. So I have everything I need right here. Here we go. So, we're going to be going over our ingredients. Our next mise en place. Here, we have a can of chickpeas. It's going to be super delicious. These are full of delicious flavor. I love chickpeas. Chickpeas are amazing. I love them. They have a lot of flavor. Chickpeas. All of them. Now, we also have some mango chutney. Yep. We have some mango chutney. We have some oatmeal. We have our chickpeas. Oh. We got our oil for frying. And we have some potato flour too. So now please tell me if you like chickpeas or you don't. And then here we have some paneer cheese, which is very important. We have some onion, which we're going to cut up. We have some carrot, which we're going to cut up. We have the juice of a lemon with some olive oil. We have our super secret, also secret spices, which is going to be cumin seed, smoked paprika, salt and pepper, which is going to be super delicious. And we have some oil for frying, and we have our chutney. Now, we're not going to need our chutney, so we can just put that back away. And then we also have our parsley. Now, here is our big old thing of parsley. We're going to be using a lot of parsley in this recipe. And so, one of the tricks with keeping parsley is, you see I have it in this cup of water. And by doing that, the plant, it soaks up the water and it stays fresh for longer. So if you have parsley or other herbs, parsley, cilantro, you want to put these herbs in water so they last longer. That's very important because, if they're out of water and they're not in a cup of water like a plant, plus they look kind of cool, you can hide behind them, boom. You can have a lot of fun in the kitchen. So, we have these. And Sous Chef Dad, can you grab me the food processor? Now, we are going to be using a food processor for this next portion. Thank you so much. So, we are going to be using a food processor, which is a pretty fancy tool here. And I'm going to plug it in real quick. And we're almost ready to start cooking our next dish. So, with our food processor, we're going to take our food processor here. Now, with the food processor, you still want to be careful. There's a blade in here. It's going to spin around. It can be dangerous a little bit. But we're actually going to start off with putting in our paneer cheese. Now, you might be thinking, Logan, what are you doing with paneer cheese? And why are you putting it in first? Now, this is very important. The paneer cheese has to go in first because I'm going to food process it up, and I'm going to mix it up, and it's going to do that, and then it's going to get crumbly. And so I want it to get to the right texture before I add in the other ingredients. A lot of cooking is all about an interplay between flavors, textures, and all these beautiful notes coming together in this awesome symphony of flavor. So, we're going to just top this on. Boom. You see? See it's getting crumbly? Boom. Look at that. We're just going to run it. And there we go. Now our paneer cheese is nice and crumbly. We're actually going to get in here. We're going to crumble it for you. You see? Beautiful. This is the texture that we want to have. So you can see how it's just really nice and crumbly and nice and lightly aerated. This is super important. Because if you don't do this first, it's not going to mix well. It's going to get clumpy. It's going to get bloopy. It's going to be a mess. So, next, we're going to add in some chickpeas. Now, we're only going to add in some of our chickpeas. Now, once again, I'm doing this because I want variation in texture. I want a variation in how the textures interplay with each other in the dish. So that's why we are keeping some of our chickpeas to add later. Now this is a very important thing, that you have a lot of varied textures in your cooking. Otherwise, it's all going to be kind of flat, it's all going to be one note, it's all going to be mushy, and then you're going to be eating like baby food, and nobody wants to eat baby food. You know, you want it to have a lot of textures and a lot of intrigue, and you want it to be delicious, and you want to impress people, you want to make people happy. And that's probably one of the most important things about cooking, is making people happy. Whether it's making yourself happy, whether it's making whoever you're cooking for happy, you got to be happy when you're cooking. So, next we're going to break down some more of our ingredients here. So we're going to start with, let's actually start with our onion. Now, we're just going to use a little bit of onion because onion isn't my favorite. I don't really like onion, but it is necessary for the dish. So we're going to put it down on our cutting board here, and I'm going to show you just a little trick here. Got another knife. Once again, be very careful. Finger on the top, and then curl your fingers. Now I'm only going to be adding a tablespoon of onion, so I only need a little bit. So I'm just going to take a chunk off the onion. Boom. And then we're going to get rid of it, because I don't like it. So, whew. Plus I don't want to start crying. Onion chopping is a very sad thing. I get very emotional. So, here we go. We're going to peel off the outer skin of the onion. So, with the onion, there's going to be a skin. You're going to want to get your finger under there. Just peel it off nice and gently. Boom. Once you cut it, then you peel it. It's a lot easier to peel once it's been cut. It's kind of like a sticker. You know, have you ever peeled a sticker? You notice how if you bend the paper a little bit, it's a lot easier to get it off. That's essentially what we're doing with our onion. So now, we're just going to take that, keep a clean mise en place. Next, we're just going to give it a little bit of a dice. So I'm going to move some of my stuff around so you can really see what I'm doing here. You're going to see I'm moving that. There we go. So we have our onion. We're going to want to curl our fingers again. Now we're going to give this a nice dice, even though we're going to throw it in the food processor, because we want to have some fun. So for those of you who are older, more experienced, who feel like, you know, maybe you want to try something different. One of the more difficult, more challenging, I'm not saying that you should try this at home, but maybe, is to take the knife and cut it halfway through the onion. Just kind of like that. Not all the way through, just in a little bit. So you see how our onion's in there? See how it's on the knife? Boom. Now we're going to want to take our knife out, and now cut our onion in half. So we have our onion in half, and then we're going to want to just go down. And we're not going to want to, we're not going to want to cut it all the way through with these cuts. But it looks like we kind of want. So we're just going to have to roll with it. So we're doing slices. Sometimes the onion will hold together, sometimes it won't. You know, that's another thing with cooking, is don't be worried if it isn't the same all the time. Every day that you cook, it's going to be different. And every time that you're in the kitchen, it's going to be a different day. Different things are going to happen. You're going to have different ingredients. Everything's going to be a little bit different. So you need to accept that. You need to accept, you know, the journey of cooking and enjoy it. So even though I would have liked our onion to stay together and not, you know, turn into these nice, beautiful slivers, because I wanted to dice it, sometimes you have to accept that. And you have to be happy with it. So you can see our onion does look pretty good. It's in these nice little slivers. And we're just going to go back over it with a nice little chop. So we're going to want to turn our onion, or turn what's left of our onion, and then we're going to show you a nice, easy way to dice with being very, very careful. So one of the things is that if you have both hands on your knife, you can't cut your hands, because they're not on the board. Both hands are on the knife. So by having the point of the knife here, having these fingers on the top and these fingers on the knife, then you can chop and kind of go, move our oats here. Then we can go boom, 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 boom. And we can chop without worrying about cutting your fingers, because both hands are on the knife. This is a very nice little trick for just doing a nice rough chop. So these are for your chopped onions here. Boom. Beautiful. See? And that is another portion of kitchen safety that's very important. Now we're also going to do another cool knife trick. We're going to slide our knife on here. You can slide your knife. Now, We're going to take our onion, get it onto the blade of the knife. Very fancy, right? Boom, right into our food processor. So we don't need a whole lot of onion, just a little bit more. There we go. That's probably enough. We only want 1 tablespoon. So once again, we're going to want to keep a clean mise en place. So we're going to take that out. Clean mise en place. Always keep a clean mise en place. I used to not keep a clean mise en place, but I'm working on it, and the self-discipline is very important. So now we're also going to add in our oats. So we're just going to add in our oatmeal. Now our oats, you might be wondering what they're going to be doing for me. They're going to be a binder. And a binder is what holds everything together. They're going to be the glue to our chickpeas here. So since I need the glue to hold these puppies together, then I need some oatmeal. And so the oatmeal is what's going to hold everything together. So next we're going to add in our spices. Boom. Nice and easy. Delicious.
The question is, what happens if you don't have a food processor?
Oh, that is a great question, off-screen sous chef. My off-screen sous chef just asked, what do you do if you don't have a food processor? Now, if you don't have a food processor, all a food processor is a knife. So everything that you can do with a food processor, you can do with a knife. Granted, it might be a lot more work, and it might be a little difficult, but you can do it with a knife. So you just want to dice up everything, just chop it all up with a knife if you don't have a food processor. Food processor makes things easier, but if you don't have it, that's okay. So, here we go. Next we're going to add in our carrot here. So, add in our carrot. Now you see I'm going to put on our pan for cooking our sliders because these are going to be ready pretty soon. So we're just going to want to take our carrot here and boom, just going to want to cut it up. Once again, I'm using the fancy cuts. This is just going to be so that it goes into the food processor, so that we can fit this long carrot in here. Boom. See, once you practice, then things will go a lot quicker in the kitchen. So, there we go. Next, we're going to add in our olive oil. So there's 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Boom. Olive oil in. Done. Next, we're going to add in our juice of a lemon. Now I'm going to show you a trick. Because you want to look cool, right? You want to impress people. You want to be cool. I feel it. I want to be cool too. So, now that we have our lemon, we have our knife. Now this is a very, very cool chef trick. Chef taught me this. So you're going to want to take your knife, you're going to take your lemon, you're going to want to cut into it. So you're going to want to cut kind of just into the lemon. Boom. So now you see we've got our lemon, it's on our knife. See, boom, lemon on knife. You might be thinking this looks very weird, because it is. Next, you're going to want to take your lemon and your knife. You're going to point the knife down. This is what you do. And then you squeeze on the lemon, and you should get the juice running down the tip of the knife. Now, by doing this is very fancy, very impressive. And you will not spill any of the lemon juice. So instead of just juicing a lemon like normal, which is just like this, and you're like, oh, lemon juice, you can do it on the knife, and then you know exactly where it's going to go. This lemon's really not that juicy. So there we go. Now we're going to do our other half a lemon. There we go, on the knife, down. Man, our lemon is not juicy. You see, this is another thing with cooking. You see, one of the biggest things about cooking is improvising and just going with the flow. Oh, awesome. Oh, great. Let's bring it up. Now, from our off-screen sous chef here, our tart is done. And this is what it's supposed to look like. Off-screen sous chef, can I also have the plate there? Yes. So, okay. For those of you cooking at home, cooking along with me, our tart, which is right here, is done. This is what we put in 15 minutes ago. I know. Wow. Doesn't that look good? So we're just going to take it off. Nice and easy. We're going to try to hand this back off. Actually, we're just going to... There we go. So now, we're going to want to cut this up. So we're going to take our knife, cut this up. Now this is our snack. This is going to be super delicious. Oh, you hear that crunch? Oh, that's going to be so good. So we're just going to want to cut that up. And then we're just going to cut it down the center. Cut it down the center. And now it's ready to be served. Look at how delicious that is. Woo! Ah. So this is our tart that we just made not that long ago, and it is ready to be served. You're gonna want to serve it just like this. Boom. All right, be a little careful, guys. But I'll add another piece to it. Oh my God. I was not expecting the tart to slide off like that, but boom, there's our tart. You can see, looks super good, super delicious. You can see it's hot, it's cheesy, it's got vegetables, and it puffed up. I'm gonna pick up one of these, hold it really close to you guys so that you guys can see how delicious it is. See how puffy that is? That puff pastry puffed up. Of course, you know, when you're cooking, don't be afraid to take a break. Oh, that is delicious. So, the cheese, the vegetables, the puff pastry, super good. So for those of you cooking at home, hopefully your tart should be done, and you can enjoy a little bit of a snack with me. That is really, really good. Now I'm gonna pick up the rest of it. I'm gonna give it back to my off-camera sous chef, Dad, and he will probably enjoy the rest of it. Here you go, Dad. Thank you so much. Nothing's like a little bit of snack in the middle of cooking. So, now we can go back to our tart here. But first, I'm going to give the mise en place a little bit of a clean down. You see our tart was a little messy, so we're just going to give it a little bit of a clean. Once again, guys, you got to keep a clean mise en place. If you don't keep a clean mise en place, your food's going to be dirty. And nobody wants dirty food. So, there we go. Now we're going to move on to our herbs here. Oh, you guys enjoying the tart at home? I hope so. So, we're going to be picking our parsley here. This is just flat leaf parsley. We're going to be taking it. We don't want quite a bit of it, so we're going to be here a little bit. Just picking parsley. Once again, with herbs, you know, you just want to be zen with it. Be zen with cooking. You know, you want to be one with the ingredients. You want to feel them. You might want to give them a little bit of a taste. Parsley. Just a little bitter today, but that's okay. Just give it a little bit of a taste. And then, boom. Should almost be good. There we go. Parsley. So, as we're picking the leaves of our herbs here, there we go. So we have this nice and clean. Give our knife a little bit of a clean here too. Once again, gotta keep everything nice and clean. So there we go. That'll be good. So, now we're gonna wanna dice this up once again. With herbs, just wanna kinda go ham. Just kinda go right at it. Just dice them up. Now you could chiffonade them, which is fancy, but I find that just going to town with the knife, just scraping them up into a little line, then going down the line is the best way. So you're gonna want to keep them into a nice little pile, and then just keep going over them. Both hands on the knife, work this hand down, this hand just keeps the pressure, keeps the point down, and then you can look super cool, you can feel cool, you can have fun, and you can chop your herbs really, really well. You see our herbs are nicely chopped, nice and finely diced. You see that they are nice and fine, very nice. So just kind of have some fun with it. Just kind of go to town with the herbs. Now, boom. Once again, keep it nice and clean. I think that's not quite enough, so we're going to use a little bit more. So boom, boom, boom. Once again, just kind of go at it. Now, the reason why I'm picking the leaves is because I don't want any of the stem. The stem is usually pretty bitter, it doesn't taste good, and we don't want that. So we just want the leaves. These leaves are the best part of the parsley, and then we'll be good to go. There we go. There we go. Now we're going to give it another little dice here. We're going to give you... Actually, I'm going to teach you something new. We're going to take our leaves here, and we're going to want to try to lay them all together. So we're going to want to try to create this little bouquet of leaves. So we're going to want to try to keep them in our hand. You see how I have them in my fingers here? I'm just adding leaves to it, making a nice little tight thing of leaves. So we want to keep them all together. Keep them all together. Now I'm going to want to try to roll them up. Get them nice and rolled. You see how nice and tight they are? We're going to want them like that. Now, this is kind of an advanced trick, so I hope you're ready for this. Now we're going to want to keep it nice and tight, curl the fingers, and just take our knife. We're going to want one finger on the top, and we're just going to want to kind of go down, back, up, down. So you see this motion, this hand motion? This is what we're going to want to do. And then we're going to want to slowly slide our fingers back and chop the leaves like this. Now this is a chef and nod, and most chefs are doing it pretty fast, pretty thin, and just kind of like that, boom, 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 boom. But since I know that you guys are kids, and I was a kid, you're just going to take your time with it. And then you're going to get these nice little strips. So you can see we have a little bit of a larger thing here. They're going to be nice little strips. So, boom, just going to throw those in our food processor. I'm going to give these a nice little chop here. Boom. Now, I think we should be ready to process it. So we're going to take our lid to our food processor here and tap it on. Get it lined up. Boom. We're going to turn it on. Now we're going to check it. Looks pretty good. Next, we're going to add in our chickpeas. So we're going to add in the rest of our chickpeas. Now this is done. So once again, we're going to keep our clean mise en place here. Boom. Look at that. Keeping a clean mise en place. Now we're going to blend it again. Just nice couple times. Boom, 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 boom. Now we're looking at the texture here. Now, you might be thinking, how do I know when it's done? Well, you know when it's done when it looks kind of nice and crumbly, and you can tell that it has a good texture. There we go. So, next we're going to want to kind of give it a little feel, give it a little look. We're actually going to give it a little taste too. Taste. Pretty spot on, pretty good. Now we're going to take our oil. Here's our cooking oil. We're going to add it into here. We'll get that nice and hot. Now next we're going to add in a little bit of salt and pepper. You can't forget the seasoning, but you have to know when to season. Some people like to season before, some people like to season after. Personally, I like to season a little bit of each. So, there we go, a little bit of pepper. Nice and easy. Once again, clean mise en place. Now, we're going to hit it with a little bit of salt. Boom. There we go. Now, we're just going to give it a little bit of a fold here. Just going to kind of fold it up. We got our pan, nice and hot. Woo. Pan's nice and hot. Now this is going to sizzle. So, next we're going to want to take our hands, just kind of get in there. And we're going to try to make a little bit of a patty. So first you're going to want to roll it, kind of press it into together, and you see we got a little ball, looking good. Now once we have a little bit of a ball, we can kind of smush the ball into patty, but we're going to need a little bit. So I'm going to grab a little bit. Now, one of the things is you want to try to line up the size with the size of the bun. So my slider buns are a little bit bigger, so we're gonna keep going until we get to a nice. Oh, there we go. So now that we have a nice sized patty, see we made a little patty here. We're gonna give it a little bit of flattening. There we go, nice sized patty. Now we're gonna take our potato flour here, and we're just gonna flick it in there, and boom. Now we covered it in our potato flour, and we're gonna put it right onto our pan. Now we're gonna make another one. So give this a little minute here, and boom, kabam. Take a little bit off. Gonna roll it up into a little ball. Well, don't be afraid to get in there with your hands. Have some fun with it. You know, really feel the texture. Feel the consistency. Feel, the oil. Feel the chickpea. Feel the thing. Roll it a little bit. Have some fun. You see, boom. Now we're gonna try to roll it into a nice little hamburger patty, little slider bun, and boom, that. Oh, it's great. Now we're gonna give it a flick in the corner, or the potato flour. Now we're just gonna drop it right in. Boom. There you go. Oh, looks pretty good. So we're gonna give those a minute to cook. Now, why we're cooking these is because we want them to crisp up. We don't want them to get warm, and we want them to be super delicious. Dad, can you hand me the plate with the slider down? Thank you. So, off-screen sous chef, come in with our finished dish to plate these up. Now here, I have the mango chutney on the slider buns. We have a little bit of lettuce, and we have some tomato. You can also add onions. You can add whatever toppings you want. You are the chef. Remember that. You are the chef. You get to decide what you want to put in your food. I just happen to like these. So, we're going to put those there. We're going to check our sliders here. Just going to give them a little flip. Now, be careful. So, our sliders are crisping up nicely. So, once again, we're going to go back to cleaning our mise en place here. Boom. Keep our mise en place nice and clean. And we won't be needing our potato flour. Now, we just have our little buns here, our little burger patties, slider patties. Now you can see, hopefully you can see, getting nice and crispy. They're hot. You want to be careful with them because they are going to be a little soft because they are made out of veggies. There's no meat in them. So there's just some cheese and veggies holding this together. So you are going to want to be really gentle. So, while these are almost done, just going to give those another minute in the pan. We're going to prep our burgers here. Keep cleaning our mise en place the whole way. So, next we're going to cut up some slices of tomato. So, just going to want to do nice slices. Boom. So we're going to take a nice slice, and we're going to put it on our bun. A little bit of thin slice there. So we're just going to take some sliced tomato. Now you might be thinking, Logan, you're getting a little bit of parsley here. No, don't worry about the parsley. Parsley's fine. You know, a little bit of extra herb is super delicious. So we're just going to put some of that on there. Boom. There we go. So now we have some tomato onto our slider buns here. We're almost ready to plate these up. See, you give that guy a little flip. Whew. Now you can see they're a little bit of nice and golden brown and crisp. To bring them close to you. Hopefully you can tell. Nice golden brown, crisp on the top. So now we're just gonna, we're just gonna drop them right on there. We're gonna drop this one onto this one. And you see what I mean about making sure that your patties are about the size of your bun. So now we're just gonna take a little bit of lettuce here. Take a little bit of lettuce. Just put it right there on the top. Get some sliders. Boom. Next we're going to take our buns and our chutney, put them on top of there, and then give it a nice little clean. Once again, chef trick here. Get it all nice and clean. There we go. Look at those. Aren't those delicious? Now, I'm going to give a little bite. Now that we're done. Just going to give this a little taste test, you know. Woo, hot. Now that's good. So, now, once again, we're going to go hand these off to our off-screen sous chef. There we go. Boom. Delicious. Now, once again, make sure to take a couple breaks. Make sure to snack while you're cooking, you know. If you cut up a little bit of extra tomato, like you see I cut the top off the tomato, and now I wouldn't put this on a burger, but you know what I would? See, have fun in the kitchen. Just, you know, if you got a little bit of extra ingredient lying around, just pop it in your mouth. Enjoy it. You know, nobody's gonna notice that the top of that tomato's gone. And you know, you get a little snack, so have some fun. Now, we're pretty much ready to move on to our next dish. So, once again, we're gonna have to clean our mise en place. I know, it's terrible. It's terrible. We're always cleaning. But the reason why we're always cleaning is because we have to have a clean workstation in order to make good food. So, grab another paper towel here. I know. You're probably telling me, Logan, I don't want to clean anymore. Trust me, I don't either. But as a chef and as a creative person, you have to keep your thoughts clean, you have to keep your workstation clean, and, you know, you just got to keep everything nice and in order. So, there we go. That's all nice and taken care of. Boom. This way. So, once again, now we aren't going to be needing this knife either. So that can go away. Now, we're going to ask the off-screen sous chef, Dad, can you grab the pan? Take that away. Thank you. Awesome. Now, we're almost ready to start cooking the popsicle. Next, we're going to be making these awesome summer watermelon popsicles. So, we're going to be taking out some of our ingredients here. This is some mint simple syrup. Now I'm going to show you how to make this. So we're going to put that there. Next, we're going to take out our popsicle molds here. It's going to be super fun. After that, we're going to have our pot and our watermelon. So, and then we're going to grab out the rest of our mise en place from under here. We have water, mint, we're going to get this started, and then we're also going to have some sugar and a wooden spoon. Now, these three ingredients right here, we have water, sugar, mint, and a mint tea bag, is going to turn into this. So, we have our pot here. I'm going to show you, we're going to take our cup of water, we're going to add it to our pot. Next, we're going to add in our cup of sugar. So we're going to add in our sugar. Boom. Beautiful. Then, we're going to take a wooden spoon. Now, the reason why we're using a wooden spoon is because whenever we're dealing with hot sugar, the heat is going to travel up the spoon, and that could burn you. So that's going to be very bad. And you don't want to get burned, so that's why we're using wood, because the wood, it doesn't conduct the heat. It's not metal. So the heat from the pan will rise up the spoon and get hot and burn it. If you've ever used a metal spoon, this probably happened. That's why we're going to be using a wooden spoon for any kind of sugar work. So since we're working with sugar and water, which can get extremely hot, so hot that it'll form the sugar into crystals and crystallize, and it can get extremely hot, cause very, very bad burns. So that's why we're using a wooden spoon. This is very important safety tip. Next, we're going to add in our mint. It smells delicious. And then we're going to add in our tea bag. And then we're just going to cook this down. Just going to keep stirring this. And we're going to cook that down until it turns into this. This is our mint simple syrup. You might be able to see the mint leaves floating in there. And it's going to turn this nice dark color from the tea, and it's going to become super delicious. I'm going to give it a try. That's delicious. So, our final thing to making the popsicles Let's get out our blender here. Blender? Blenders are fun, aren't they? So, what?
Adult supervision.
Oh yeah. Of course, be careful. And my sous chef reminds me to have adult supervision whenever you're handling sharp and dangerous objects, such as blenders and other instruments that can hurt you. So, here we go. You guys ready to see some fun? Here we have our 4 cups of watermelon, which we're just going to put in there. Boom. Watermelon. Now, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. Now, I'm just going to give this a nice little blend. Alright. Now we're going to add in some of our simple syrup. Got that blender. Now that should help blend together nicely. There we go. So now that our watermelon is nicely blended and it is ready to pour, we're going to give it a little taste here. Pretty good. I'm going to add in a little bit more simple syrup. Boom. Delicious. Now, our simple syrup that we're cooking here has turned a nice kind of golden brown color. It's not quite done, but it's going to take a little bit. So you're going to want to take your time with your simple syrup by making this. This is going to take a little bit, but that's okay. Things in the kitchen, they take time. They're going to take as long as they're going to take. So, next we're going to pour these into our molds. There we go, 1, 2. There we go. And then, we need a little bit more. We're going to pour these into our popsicle molds, and then these are going to go into the freezer. Now, you might be thinking, Logan, I don't have any popsicle molds. And, you know, if you don't have any popsicle molds, that doesn't mean that you can't have popsicles. Because you can make a popsicle mold. Now, chefs, we have to improvise all the time. Sometimes we run out of ingredients, sometimes we can't find things, and sometimes we need to make our own tools. So you can make your own popsicle mold like this with a couple straws, tin foil, and a little paper cup, and you can make a popsicle. So I'm going to show you kind of that. So we're just going to take our lid off. We're going to pour this in. Now this is just in case you want to do this and you don't have a popsicle mold. It's going to be a large popsicle, but that's okay. So then you're just going to put the lid back on it. Boom. And you can stick this in the freezer, and you can have a popsicle if you don't have these fancy popsicle molds. So sometimes you gotta get creative. You have to look at what you have and make it into what you need. That's kind of just the improvisation that comes with being in the kitchen and being a chef. So now we're gonna take this, and we're gonna give it to our awesome, amazing sous chef, #1 dad. He's gonna grab it. Oh, boom. Awesome, thank you, Dad. Now we're going to clean up our mise en place. Clean this up. We're going to turn this off, because that's just turning into this. And then we have our finished popsicles coming in, which are right here. Oh, kaboom, kabam. We have amazing popsicles. This is what they're going to look like when they're all frozen, done. Don't those look great? Awesome. So we're just going to take our watermelon popsicles. Amazing. So that's how you make 3 awesome summer dishes. So these are all dishes that you can make at home. You can make these dishes. They're super easy. They're super delicious. And they're great for summer. So hopefully you enjoyed them. Hopefully you're going to try them. and we can have a little tart, a little slider, and then a little bit of popsicles. So, now, you're probably thinking, Logan, like, oh my god, this is so delicious. Hopefully you had the tart, hopefully you liked it, and hopefully you had a lot of fun with me today cooking. But now we're going to move on to something a little bit more techy. And we're going to move on to talking about NFTs. Now, this is going to be pretty fun. So, I hope you're ready. And, yeah. Delicious. So, all done. Hopefully we can have the NFT presentation with, awesome. Delicious. Here we go. Here's my presentation on NFTs. Now you might be thinking, what is an NFT? What is this non-fungible token, this acronym that I keep hearing all about? Now I'm going to ask you guys, do you know what an NFT is? Now, please give me some poll questions. Let me know. And I'm just going to keep enjoying this little watermelon popsicle here.